Now let's talk about UBS in Switzerland. With the loss of Switzerland, where can tax-evading Americans put their money? My next guest says, well, nowhere safe. Asher Rubinstein is an attorney who represents many UBS account holders seeking amnesty with the IRS. And he says while offshore accounts are still useful in some situations, hiding from the tax man is no longer one of them. Asher, thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk first of all about just where this money can go. I mean, you have millions, billions of dollars probably coming back into the U.S., being paid in taxes, back taxes and penalties to the IRS. What about the ones that get away? Is there going to be some place they can go and hide still?
Well, you have to ask who they're hiding from. There are still jurisdictions where you can protect your assets vis-a-vis civil creditors. However, there is really no place left where you can have any expectations of secrecy with respect to the IRS or any other tax regime around the world. I think the days of anonymity and hiding assets from your tax authority, those days are over.
So actually illegally cheating, maybe much more difficult now. That said, there are obviously tax shelter strategies that investors, wealthy investors, can still practice for a price.
Yeah, the IRS, however, is cracking down on those as well. There are somewhere between 30 and 50 listed transactions if you avail yourself of one of those. It's not that they're illegal, they're just extra specially scrutinized, and your tax advisor has to report to the IRS that you're doing it, and they have to maintain a list. Those are difficult, and there are a lot of fine details that you really can't trip up on.
I just want to make clear, we're not advising anyone to look for a way to get out of taxes, and you actually tell your clients the best thing for them to do in the situation that they may have evaded taxes is go to the IRS before the September 23rd deadline.
I do, and a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork now that the UBS settlement has made clear that there really is no more tax secrecy. I am advising clients, all sorts of clients with all sorts of different accounts in many different countries, to come forward and essentially make amends for past non-tax compliance or tax non-compliance, and they will henceforth be compliant, and they're going to pay less penalties, and they're going to avoid jail, and they're going to be able to sleep at night and really clean up their account.
Why only 4,450 names turned over out of the 52,000 that the IRS wanted? A lot of viewers writing in saying, hey, this is a conspiracy. They made a deal so that the bankers could stay in business. I mean, why wouldn't you just hand them all over if you're going to hand over some?
It was very difficult for the Swiss to give off any names and not lose face. This settlement gives the Swiss the opportunity to say, look, our law, Swiss law, prohibits us from disclosing information unless it's for tax fraud. The Swiss are maintaining that these 4,500s are clear examples of tax fraud, and therefore they can be within the realm of Swiss law and still hand those names over to the IRS.
It has to be said, though, that banking is a very important business in Switzerland.
Exactly, and I think that there were interest on both sides of the fight to preserve that. I know that, if UBS was made to pay a significant fine like they did to settle the civil suit back in February, then that would have dire consequences for UBS in particular, for Swiss banking as a whole, and probably it would have a ripple effect in the global economy as well.
Any estimates on how much of a windfall this is for the IRS?
What I'm hearing is that there's an $18 billion figure with respect to the 4,500 names, but this is just the beginning. UBS is down. Let's see who's next. We know that HSBC and Credit Suisse are being investigated. Americans that are voluntarily disclosing their accounts are revealing other banks and other financial institutions and other service providers to the IRS, and I really think that UBS is step one, and step two is going to be everybody else, and if you have a foreign account, you don't have much time to make it compliant. You have until September 23rd.
All right, Asher, thanks so much for joining us. Asher Rubinstein, a partner at Rubinstein & Rubinstein here in New York.